Hello and welcome to Good Deeds, the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us. Today we will talk about the registry with the Register, Bill O'Donnell, who will join us and talk about some current statistics that you may like to be made aware of, and also other registry programs and services. So, Bill, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mark, and hello to all the viewers. The subject matter is the Registry of Deeds, and a lot of people, it's an arm of government, and many people don't realize what the Registry of Deeds is. And one of the biggest things the Registry deals with is people's homes. The Registry is where land records get recorded. We're here in Norfolk County. Norfolk County's been around since Governor Hancock, the first governor of Massachusetts, signed legislation back in 1793. And currently there are 28 communities that make up Norfolk County. And when you think about it, these land records have been recorded here in Norfolk County at the Registry of Deeds here in Dedham since 1793. And the biggest asset most of us have are our homes. So the registry, hopefully this will be an information-based program that you can learn a little bit about the registry and real estate matters, and in some cases protect your home. First of all, the location is, we're located in Dedham in a different building. We are in a historic building. It was built in 1903. The Registry of Deeds has been in Dedham since 1793, and we're located at 649 High Street in Dedham. It usually is open to the public. However, with COVID restrictions, we've had to curtail that, but I want all the viewers to know that throughout the pandemic, which Governor Baker declared a state of emergency March 10th, 2020, the Registry of Deeds has been open every workday, and I think that's been very important to keep the real estate economy viable here in Norfolk County. And when you think about it, a lot of people depend on the real estate economy, and the registry is a big part of that because all the documents get recorded here. So whether it's the lenders, the tradesmen, the contractors, the inspectors, the real estate brokers, there's a lot of groups get tied into the Registry of Deeds, and we thought it was very important to stay open, and I couldn't do it without the help and collaboration of the employees. Our paramount responsibility, I think, throughout the pandemic was to make sure that the health and safety of the employees and everyone that intersects with the Registry of Building is maintained. But the employees have done a wonderful job in assisting our mission of keeping open during these times.
We should mention that with that said, the registry was honored. The employees of the registry were honored recently.
Yes, and again, we want to thank D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches. They have a program, the Everyday Heroes program, where they honor a community group that's been doing something, working through the difficulties, and all of us have had difficulties, and some people have had severe difficulties where they've lost loved ones during this unforeseen coronavirus pandemic. And D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches Everyday Heroes program, they came by with sandwiches, but they recognized the employees for what they've done during the coronavirus that just happened. And we were, first of all, the employees have been everyday heroes. When the governor declared that the registry workers were essential workers, we know we're not firemen or policemen, or, I have family members that are nurses and in the front lines doing that. But, they come to work every day. We've done remote work. We've used our disaster recovery office down in another part of Dedham. But our building has had people physically in the building every workday since March 10th, 2020. So the employees are really everyday heroes and have done a great job in keeping the registry operational. And, the reason why that's important is if you're buying or selling a house, you want to make sure those documents get closed. But significant revenues get collected at the registry. Most of the revenues go to the state, but these revenues find their way back to the state, the county, and the local governments, whether it's in the form of public safety, fire and police, whether it's in the form of educational programs, healthcare programs, social service programs, monies that get collected for the CPA, the Community Preservation Act projects that are in a lot of towns get collected here. So a lot of important things. Again, an arm of government many people don't know about. And hopefully the viewers learn a little bit about what we do here at the registry and how we do it. And that's what it's about, outreach and hopefully helping the consumer realize what the Registry of Deeds can do for them.
And for those folks who aren't familiar with you, just a brief introduction.
It's been my privilege to be the Register of Deeds. By way of background, I grew up in Norwood, kind of the heart of Norfolk County, out of the 28 communities. Norwood's located in the middle of the county. I went to Zavarian Brothers High School in Westwood, was lucky enough to go down to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., and returned and went to Boston College Law School. I was an assistant district attorney prosecuting cases here for then District Attorney Bill Delahunt, and then later was in private practice, as far as practicing law, and some of my practice included real estate. And that background, I live in Norwood. I live there with my wife and 3 children, and coach sports and things like that. But what I've tried to take in my background, for instance, I was an elected town meeting member, an elected planning board member. Like many of you, your viewers probably, you volunteer for government activities or government positions. And what I've tried to do is take all this experience, because I've seen what government did well. And as a matter of fact, when I was down in Washington, D.C., I spent 3 years in Congressman Joseph Moakley's office. And he always said, you got to help the residents out, help the, good customer service. And I really tried to bring this to the Registry of Deeds. But by being in the private sector as well, I see the benefits of the private sector. And I have tried to run the registry here like a business. So, you can come by the registry. We can try to help you out. We have a customer service number, 1-781-461-6101. And more importantly, we've tried to modernize the registry. So we actually have a website, www.norfolkdeeds.org. And our website has a tremendous amount of information that people might find useful, whether it's what happens if a spouse who we own the house jointly passes away, or what's a homestead? Should I get one? We have forms on our website that you can download. Some information for foreclosures. People are struggling with foreclosures. And if you go to our website, we have groups that can help you. So I've tried to incorporate in my background running the place efficiently through the collaboration and cooperation of the people that work here, and also maintaining good customer service. So that's what we want to do. And there's a lot of things that can help people. We mentioned the homestead. The homestead is a document that you can record here. And when I first started as register, it was $300,000 worth of protection. It's up to $500,000, where if you own your home as a principal residence, you can declare an estate of homestead, and for a relatively modest filing fee of $36, it prevents the forced sale of your home. And that's important because, again, the biggest asset most of us have are our homes. And people might say, well, how does it protect me? And I always give the example, you might think you have a lot of insurance on your car, $100,000, but you get into a car accident where you really hurt somebody and they have a $300,000 case. Well, the advocates for that injured party are going to look to your assets. And in that case alone, you only have $100,000 worth of insurance on your car. So, protect the biggest asset you have. You utilize the Homestead Act. And statistically, it's working. We have statistics we can talk about in 2020. It's been tremendously busy down here. And one of the documents that got recorded and is real strongly is the Homestead Act. People should protect themselves. It's a good consumer protection.
Let's talk about numbers, because I did hint that we were going there at the beginning of the program.
And the numbers tell a story. And to me, it tells the story of a registry. We have a once-in-a-century calamity here, a pandemic. And yet, despite all this, it happened in March of 2020. It's been tremendously busy at the Registry of Deeds. So, and it's reflected in the numbers. For instance, total documents recorded countywide. It was for calendar year 20, January to December, 179,260. It was 150,000 in 2019. So that's a 19% increase in document volume. That's the amount of documents that get recorded here. And deeds, think about it. The market went tremendously bad in March and April, but in the third quarter, which is third quarter, fourth quarter, those are the last 6 months of the year, there was tremendous activity. In fact, single home sales, which are a part of the deeds that had taken the nosedive in the second quarter, grew tremendously. And for instance, we've had 18,413 deeds recorded in calendar year 20, which exceeded calendar year 19. And that's important. In Massachusetts, I got some information from the Warren Group. 61,469 single-family homes were sold in 2020 as compared to 2019. That's a 3.9% increase. So, and that was the largest single-family sales in Massachusetts since 2004. So it's very busy, and we've seen it, and we see it in the form of prices. In Norfolk County, and we always tell people, we track commercial and residential prices together. In 2020, it went up almost $96,000, the average sale price. That was a 12% increase from 2019 to 2020. And the Warren Group looked at prices statewide, 14% or more increase over the last 5 months of 2020. And statewide, the prices were 11.4%. So, Norfolk County is right in range there. And another component of our real estate activity is mortgages. In total mortgages, 45,669 were recorded from January to December 31st, 2020, as opposed to 29,740 from January 1st to December 31st, 2019. That's a 54% increase. And again, the rates are low. You see people, part of mortgages are people buying houses. And even though there's a limited inventory, and with a limited inventory, it means, prices are going up because there's more people, we're told, anecdotally by the brokers we stay in contact with, that there's multiple offers on homes that are priced right. But the other component of activity is mortgages. And because the interest rates are low, people might be needing to refinance, because I have 3 children. Luckily, my youngest just got out of college, but you're refinancing to help with the tuitions. Or some people are refinancing because they've made a commitment they're going to stay in that home, and maybe they're enlarging it or updating it. So tremendously busy activity. And that's why, as I said, it was great that the employees got recognized, because my goodness, the deeds money we talked about, $68 million was collected here in calendar year 2020, as opposed to $57 million in 2019. So again, a lot of activity, even with this COVID crisis. And again, I got to thank the employees for doing it.
You mentioned mortgages. I do want to speak about mortgage discharges and how important that is.
Yes, I always say there's some consumer issues, and the beauty of this show is hopefully we touch on something that people can go to our website and look up, whether it's the homestead. But another thing is mortgage discharges. To me, that's a big consumer issue. What is a mortgage? Well, when we borrow money, we sign documents, we sign our life away, we sign a note to the bank, but more importantly, from the bank's perspective or the lender's perspective, you sign a mortgage that gets recorded at the Registry of Deeds. That tells the world that we owe money. And when we pay that money off, and sometimes we have to pay it off because we're refinancing, we've got a lower interest rate, or we want to knock years off the term, we have debts we have to pay, and we refinance. Most people don't think to check to make sure that the mortgage that got paid off got discharged at the registry. The discharge is a 1 or 2 page document that tells the world that debt has been paid off. And the reason it's important, and again, I get why people are saying, why should I look it up? The lawyers should be doing that. And, when you do a transaction, the banks and the lawyers should make sure that the discharges get recorded. As a matter of fact, there are laws in place now that sort of put the burden on these groups to do that. But that wasn't always the case. And ultimately, it's on me. If I'm trying to sell my house and I have a mortgage that hasn't been discharged, we see it all the time when we used to go out, and hopefully soon we will. We used to go out for office hours, and people would come in and say, I got to get a discharge. I paid that off 20 years ago. Well, the mortgage discharge never found its way to the registry. And most of the time, it never got here. And sometimes, especially the bigger banks, they weren't always good on making sure the discharges got here. Sometimes the mortgage discharges were sent to consumers, and it just wasn't made clear that they had to take it to the registry to get recorded. So you want to make sure your discharge gets recorded. If you're good on the computer, you can go on our website. We have an internet land record component of our website, which we're very proud of. That was one of the priorities when I became register, and one of the commitments I made was to bring registry records into people's homes and businesses. So you can go on our website if you're so inclined and look up your mortgage and abstract it and see if a mortgage discharge is recorded there. If you're not good on the computer, and again, my dad climbed poles for the Boston Edison for 38 years, and when I was becoming register, he said, remember, you're computerizing and modernizing things, but a lot of us don't care to know anything about computers, don't want to know anything about computers. We have a customer service center. That number, 781-461-6101. You call that number, and hopefully you'll get some help. That's what I try to bring my background, working for Joe Moakley, making sure we give good customer service, good constituent service. And you can ask them, hey, is my discharge paid off? And if it is, and if my discharge is recorded, which means my mortgage has been paid off.
Right.
If it's not, you can go to our website. We have a document, where has my bank gone? And it's one thing if a lot of great local cooperative banks in the 28 communities that make up Norfolk County, they give great customer service. You go in and you say, hey, I paid this thing off. There's no discharge at the registry. That bank will give you good service and get that discharge. Just make sure it gets recorded at the registry. But a lot of banks went out of business. Other banks merged. So we have a document that on our website, where has my bank gone? And we have links to the FDIC and to the Mass Division of Banking, which will help you track down where those banks went or where those lenders went, so you can get that mortgage discharge.
What about recording a land document?
Well, recording land documents, I always say, when I have plumbing problems at home, I hate paying a plumber, but I know I better. I always say, you can record land documents. If you have a discharge, you're just bringing it down with the filing fee. And again, you could walk right in and do it, or we have a vigorous community outreach program. We're in all the local communities in their town halls, pre-COVID, of course, where you could come by, give us that discharge, and we would record it. Under the COVID times, we have a mailbox a box out in front of the registry. You can drop it in, and if you're type A like me, you can call the number on the door and watch somebody take it out of that mailbox, and you can get it recorded. That's a relatively easy land court document to record. I always tell people, though, if you're trying to, add a person to the deed or, transfer the property in some way, it may be best to consult experts. We have lawyers around the county. You have the Norfolk County Bar Association you can call as far as getting some help. But there are ways to record documents. You can either do them physically in person. I'll tell you another modernization initiative that we did, and thank goodness we did it, was electronic recording. Most people don't do that, most consumers. But the professionals out there that might be listening, whether they're attorneys or banks, we have a lot of institutional users like that we developed electronic recording. They endorsed it. We got approvals from the federal and state government. And I'm very proud that in Norfolk County, not only did we implement internet land record research where people can look up documents back to 1793, but we have electronic recording. And we were still refining it. In 2017, we had to work on legislation in order to allow us to electronically record on the land court side of the registry. There were two sides, recorded land and land court. And I did it because, as I said at the outset of this program, I try to run the registry like a business. It was a modernization initiative. A lot of the institutional users, the lawyers, the banks, the lenders, thought it was a good idea. It brought about certain efficiencies. But who would have thought we would need it during a pandemic? Because some registries in Massachusetts, there are 21 registry districts across the state, do not have electronic recording, for instance, on the land court. Norfolk County, as soon as that legislation got passed, we were the first registry to do electronic recording in the land court in 2017, and we had previously been doing electronic recording on the recorded side. And to give you what has happened during COVID, back in March of 2020, there was, on the recorded land side, 50% use of electronic recording, where documents are signed out in Bellingham or in Quincy or one of the 28 communities in Norfolk County, and that lawyer transmits it to the registry electronically. 50%. That's grown to 80% on the recorded land side. Again, because people have to be socially distant. The building wasn't physically open, even though we had people working here. On the land court side, it was amazing. It was only 20% were using electronic recording. Again, because land courts are very rigorous standards, and it had just happened. We just got authority in 2017. People were getting used to it. That's now up to 60% are now recording electronically on the land court. So we did that to be efficient, to modernize it. But a lot of the modernization initiatives all came together with this COVID crisis, because one of the reasons we can close the building physically to the public is because our land records are available, and these records can take that virtual trip into people's homes and businesses. So we have all our documents are back to 1793. All our indexes are coordinated. So if you ran my name, Bill O'Donnell, every Bill O'Donnell back to 1793 comes out. You can do that all on the computer. So these initiatives were done to make the registry more efficient. I'm very proud of it. But thank goodness we've done it, because it has allowed us to keep doing what we've done during this COVID-19 crisis. And it's great, to get recognized by D'Angelo's, because our employees are doing are utilizing a lot of these modernization initiatives to keep business going.
Absolutely. I want to talk about consumer protection, because that's very, very important. We're dealing with what you, in fact, deal with at the registry. Talk about that and the Consumer Notification Service. Yes,
the Consumer Notification Service, we implemented that. And you're going to hear a theme. We're the first registry in Massachusetts to do that. Not all registries are doing it. I know a lot of my colleagues are working to get a consumer notification service. And I've signed up myself. Here's how it works. The FBI had said the fastest growing white-collar crime in the country was property and mortgage fraud. Now, the Consumer Notification Service that you sign up for in Norfolk County is not going to prevent fraud. As an assistant district attorney, a former one, I want to be clear on that. We're not preventing the fraud. But I signed up for it. And any document that gets recorded in the name of William O'Donnell, I get an email for. And I'm William Patrick O'Donnell, but I get if it's William J. O'Donnell, I realize it doesn't pertain to me. And I haven't had any email that came in that has pertained to me, other than things maybe I signed. But there could be a time that email comes to me, I look it up and I say, wait a minute, that's a deed to my house. I didn't sign that deed. That's a mortgage. I didn't borrow money. Now, I didn't prevent the fraud, and I haven't seen the fraud here in Norfolk County, but it's around. It's been around the country. It's out in Philadelphia. It's in Chicago. It's in California. So if it's in all these other areas, it's coming. I didn't prevent the fraud, but we have links to state authorities, to the law enforcement authorities, and I can get on it right away so that it doesn't get worse. So the Consumer Notification Service, we implemented it as really a courtesy and as an outreach service and as a protection for the people that live here in Norfolk County. You get a notice when a document gets recorded. And again, if you're not good on the computer, and you got this notice, you can call our customer service department and they can walk you through. But I think it's very important to look at that document and oh, it's William J. O'Donnell. Oh, it's a property in Quincy. It has nothing to do with me. All good. I'll look up an email to protect my house, or I'll get an email to protect my house. But the one time that, and it hasn't happened, that all of a sudden that's my property. I didn't prevent the fraud, but now I can get on it right away. So we do it. You don't have to. We're not pressuring people to sign up. A number of residents around the county have signed up. We do it to give people that extra layer of protection, because unfortunately, and we see it with so many scams out there, there's a lot of people that try to take advantage of people, and you've worked too hard to own your home. So, take steps to protect it.
And we will have that number at the bottom of the screen, but if you could give that out for folks.
Well, our customer service number is 781-461-6101, but the Consumer Notification Service, you can go to our website and you can sign up on the website. You can sign up to get your consumer notification, and our website is www.norfolkdeeds.org.
Yes, and both of those are currently on screen. I do want to talk about foreclosures and assistance that you provide.
Yes, well, again, we've had extra assistance because Attorney General Maura Healey has been very vigilant during the COVID times to make sure, for instance, it was a foreclosure moratorium from April 20th, 2020 to October 17th, 2020, and she partnered up with the registries to get documents so she could review them to make sure that people weren't getting taken advantage of as it relates to foreclosure. Hard to predict statistics. We always track statistics, and I know for the calendar year, foreclosure deeds went down by 40%. Foreclosure deeds is at the end of the process, and the registry has no involvement in the process. If you don't pay your lender, our only involvement is the lender goes to court. By law, they have to record a notice of foreclosure that tells the world they're starting the process. What happens between the court cases and everything has nothing to do with the registry of deeds until the end. If you are foreclosed on, a foreclosure deed gets recorded. And you might say, wow, that's wonderful. It's down 40%. Well, remember there was a moratorium. And a lot of people are hurting because of the COVID. So it's something to be aware of. And if you go to our website, and again, I encourage people to do, there's a lot of real estate information, but we have partnered up with not only the Attorney General's office, but we have a Quincy Community Action Program and Neighbor Works Housing Solutions. And just because it says Quincy Community Action Program, this program, this group, they're nonprofit, they don't charge you, they have committed to helping everyone across the county, no matter what community you're in. So if you are struggling, or, I wouldn't wait till you get a foreclosure notice. Or if you do get that foreclosure, that notice to foreclose, don't wait till the sheriff's on the door, taking your property with a sale. Get the help. And that's what I liked about our partnership with these consumer groups, these consumer agencies, these community groups. They're not out there charging people. They're trying to help people free, get people not only help through the foreclosure process, a lot of them they have is educational components, so that whether it's the Quincy Community Action Program or Neighbor Works Housing Solution, they're giving you learning about credit card debt, learning about your budget, maybe how you can make better choices. So I like the fact that they have an educational program. But please, if you're struggling or things aren't going that good, and we see it in every community in Norfolk County. We've seen it, and we've been doing this for years. Go to our website. You'll get the links to those community groups. And we also have a connection or a link to the Attorney General's office, because they have a consumer advocacy and response division card. So they also have some resources available for people that are struggling with foreclosures.
Bill, we've come to the end of the program. I want to thank you for joining me today.
Sleepy arm of government. Maybe we've learned a little something about the registry, but again, we couldn't do that without you allowing this to happen. So thank you very much, and thanks to the people that watch the show.
You have been watching Good Deeds, the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Please continue to watch locally produced programming on your local access station.